I'm going to drop F-bombs, so stop the video now if you're worried about that, because it's going to happen. I fucking love this set right here. This is the Mangird Xenns UP. I've seen some stuff on the internet about it. It seems to be taken as maybe a bass headset because it's got Beryllium. I want to talk about that because I was going to do a video called Hey Basshead, and so I decided to pull out the Clairvoyance, pull out some other sets, take a look at how radically different it might be, and then describe to people who have followed my recs before what they might expect were they to purchase this. And I discovered something very surprising because I didn't know it till today, and thank you to the graph tool. So this is AC/DC playing right now, which by the way sounds fucking fantastic. This plays kick drum. It's got a Beryllium coated driver, and it's doing what the Clair does with more force, and I'll go ahead and show that to you. This is a frequency graph. Let me take this out real quick. Please watch this video. Please pay attention, because this is kind of educational about me as a reviewer and what I like and how it matches my previous recs. This is my target, and this was done while Super Reviews allowed me to use a tool, while he was giving me permission. He was online, because you can see on the Google Sheets who's watching, and he was there and I was there. I'm sure he went to do something else, but I was sitting there and I thought, I got to do this as fast as I can. I like sub bass. I like my sub bass over the mids. I like the mids to fall. I want it to correct before it gets to the technical mids, or right about that time. I want it to flatten out, give me a short porch, and then I want a gain that's gradual. It's not too high, and it's at approximately the same height at the highest point of the sub bass, and then slowly decrease off the scale. No drastic stuff going on. And I did that in about 5 minutes. And I did it in front of Super Views, and then he saved it and he put it on this setup for me. And now time goes by, and now we can take a look at it. And the first thing I want to look at really quick is I want to take a look at the ThieAudio Clairvoyance, because for a lot of you, you might have bought it, and it's one of my oldest big recs for putting up a chart with a S level ranking, and I said strongly and very clearly that I thought that this was that, and I still do. I think that the sub bass and the mid bass and the mids matches me perfectly. It's got that little cut at 6K to give take a little bit of fatigue away from certain people. For my library, it seems to work out perfectly. I preferred this one. Some people prefer the Monarch. I get it. Different music, different expectations, different listening level. There's so many variables we can't possibly. People like what they like. It's all good. If you like what you bought, it's your money. Good for you. I love this set. This is about the Mangird, though. So why are we talking about the Clairvoyance? Because I discovered something that I never noticed because I didn't put these up at the same time. Another rec that I put up is the MEST Mark II. Let's click on that and pay attention to the sub bass, mid bass, and mids. It is a little bit less now. Clairvoyance is not a bass headset, and it's never been called such. And the MEST Mark II has got more bass than the OG, because it's a little more sub bass, I believe. But nobody's really talked about the Clair as being bass head. Nobody's really talked about the MEST as being bass head. It just gives authentic replay to 4-string bass guitars, kick drums, drum kits. Male vocals don't seem to be dinged by too much elevation in the mid bass. It seems to correct itself in the mid, so that vocal replay, male and female, seems reasonable to absolutely fantastic. So that's two sets that you're familiar with, and I've wrecked them a lot to a lot of people, so it's important. Let's go ahead and take a look at this on a scale. The difference at 50 hertz between these two is 1.5 dB right here, and then let's go down to 200. So this is quite a sweep down here, and the difference is 0.4. So they actually get closer in the mid bass. There's a little bit more sub bass on the Clairvoyance, but again, it's not a set that a lot of people thought was particularly bass head. Now I'd like to take another set, and it's the Elysian, the X, my kingpin right there with the MEST. And this is that. Ready? Focus on the sub bass and the mid bass and the mids. Click it in. How about a yellow? Could we get a yellow? There we go. And you'll see something that slides right in between the Clairvoyance and the MEST. Literally slides right in the middle of these two sets, pretty much. And if we go back up here again, the Unique Melody and the Thie Clair are the top and bottom, not separated by much, and then sliding right in the middle is the Elysian, and it falls down a little bit closer to the Unique Melody, These sets at the sub bass, mid bass, and mids are very, very similar. If we focus just on the bass, stretch it out, this is similar tuning. This is the tuning that treats my library well. And I realized today, the clairvoyance that got put in a box because there's so much stuff coming and going, I think I kind of lost touch with how impressed I was with that set. It was the first one that really nailed my target and helped mentally create it, which made me create my own target. Another set that I'll put on here, you know what? I was going to put the QDC. I'll put it there anyway because it's a set that some people really like. And there's another set that does the same thing. It slid right in with the Elysium. It's right in between on the sub bass and the mid bass, and then it treats the mids slightly different. You can see that the Thie is sticking up a little bit. The mids are a little bit more forward in this area. The vocal replay is not substantially different between the Clairvoyance, the MEST MKII, the Acoustic X, or the QDC V14 at stock configuration. But the set that we're here for is the one that when I was starting to do this video, I thought, this is a bass head set. Like this has got some big boom, bump, or something going on. And that would be the Mangird UP, which is this set right here, which I'm about to enthusiastically hype. Now I want you to look again at the sub bass, mid bass, and mids, because this is going to slap. It's going to follow the same trajectory. It's just about a dB higher. Let's go ahead and take out, so you can see that these are obviously all doing the same. Sub bass, glide to mid bass, stop around 350, and then take its path to the gain, and then none of them are really exceeding. They're all very, very close. They all got harmonic extension regions taken care of, and they go all off the scale. I haven't put all these up until about 20 minutes before I did this video and realized that's not really a bass head set. So let me take out the QDC. Let me take out the acoustic. Let me take out the unique melody MEST. Let me take out the Elysian Acoustic X, because you might not be familiar with that. And let's focus on a set that the majority of the video watchers have a possibility of owning, owned, or have demoed. The Mangird UP is that's 0.1 at 40 hertz. That is 1.2 at 100 hertz and 0.4 at 200 hertz and 1.8 at 300 hertz. The deviation between these sets is minimal, so if you're familiar with the Clairvoyance, you're going to get a set that's beryllium coated and sounds a little bit more forceful, but because it's got that metallic coating, the benefit of that is to stiffen the diaphragm so that it's got better perceived performance of low end of it, not interfering with the mids, i.e. vocals, guitar, and other things that exist in the mids. Everything that's got fundamentals in this area can be impacted by this being tuned wrong. Most people didn't think the Clair did that wrong. The Mangird is a little bit above that, just a little bit, and it's got a stiffened driver via Beryllium. I totally fell in love with this set, and I thought, why am I falling in love with a bass head set when I never did before? It must be because it's a tribrid. It's got the E stat, and it's got the BAs, and then finally I could put that bass up, and compare it with the Clairvoyance, it's a little bit more bass than the Clair and beryllium coated. I would strongly recommend this set. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Comparing it with all the stuff in my collection, from the Odin to the Variations to the Oracle to all of the stuff that I've got, the Clair and the Elysian would be the ones that I probably am most drawn to. Elysian Acoustic, let's throw that in there just for the hell of it. So the Elysian's got the least amount of bass, less than the Clair, but the Clair's not a bass head set. Nobody ever said it was. If somebody said, oh, bass head, get the Clair, I've never seen that typed or spoken, because it doesn't play back like that. And the Elysian is lower than the others, but I find it to be the most appealing because it's tastefully done. It's on the line of it's got this glide right here. Instead of a dip and pinch too much, it's got the glide that gives me life to the music. The bass guitars and the kick drums, they sound authentic. With the UP, they sound slightly emphasized. But I find that to be awesome because I've never had a set that had really awesome bass and had really good treble as well, because it was always interfering. So in part this is because of tribrids, and in part it's because of a beryllium coated dedicated dynamic doing subwoofer woofer slash duties. Where it's cut off, I don't know. It wouldn't be a subwoofer unless it was cut off around 60 hertz and below roughly, and it would be a woofer if it was below 250, 300, like that. So I don't know, but it's got either a subwoofer or a woofer that's beryllium coated and it's slamming, and it's got actual mids, and it's got upper treble with these all three got the same kind of intentional slight de-emphasis of a harmonic region that can be fatiguing to people, to make it an overall pleasurable and long-term listen type set. They all three did it in their own way, and they fucking magic. The Clairvoyance, the Mangird Up, and the Acoustic X fit me perfectly, and they happen to line up pretty damn good with my under pressure in 5 minute what did I say, what do I like, visualize that and put it up. Great set. So the Mangird Up, if you ordered it, I love it. If anybody says, oh, it's got way too much bass, it's about the same as the Clair. It's 1 point something pretty much all the way down to 500 hertz to the Clair. So if somebody says that, just ask them if they thought the Clair was so ridiculous, because actually, technically, one of them has a regular driver and the other has a beryllium coated. So though it's emphasized, it's kind of the reason that you use beryllium, so that you can do this and it sounds to the ear like it's maybe more like the green one, though it's got more force to it. So it sounds like it's there, but it's not impeding vocals. Absolute fantastic set. I love it. Recommend it a lot. Of all the tribrids that I've tried recently, not including the Acoustic X, the Mangird Up would be right there with the Clairvoyance, and I might pick it over it just because it's got a little more of the fun factor going on. But it's still got the treble and it's still got extension going all the way off the scale. Fantastic set. I was going to do a big rant at the end of this video, but decided to just keep it positive and talk about the gear. Stick to the music, talk about the gear, and you'll be safe. Mangird Xenns UP. Fucking good job. Very nice set. And I'm out.